How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TableTakes. This week, it is super cold in Seattle. We are all bundled up and getting nice and cozy with our pets and our families. And we got a whole bunch of headlines. Looks like the news cycle picked up a little bit this week. We got so much to talk about, as well as a extra special interview with none other than the wonderful Sarah Moore from Sarah's Table, coming up later at the end of this episode. But before we can get into any of that good stuff, we have some other good stuff. We want to check in with some of our folks here, our hosts, Bonsai Baby, Noir Enigma, and returning special guest, Anita. Anita, how are you? How has your week been?
My week has been pretty eventful. I've been taking care of our cat, Holmes. We've now officially dubbed him. Um, and we've decided that we like him so much we might just keep him.
Yay!
Um, and he is currently being a menace over at the door of this room. But yeah, other than that, it's been a good, pretty chill week. I've also been working on a couple of design projects that I've got going on, and getting caught up on that. But yeah,
How could anything be chill when you got a cat on your plate that you got to like sorry, not just one, but two of them?
one's pretty easy. The other one's injured, which you
Mm,
gotta kind of take care of him that way. Um, Other news: I started a new Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough. I'm playing a monk druid multi-class. It's pretty good. I punched through
congratulations.
a wall.
Oh, that sounds exciting. Let us know how it goes next week. Noir, what about you? What have you been up to this week?
Oh, not too much. Just the day to day at my big boy job. The corporate life is a fun one. Other than that, I've been getting some photography stuff together. Because I'm looking to get into photography. So, super excited for Gen Con. So I'll have a bunch of beautiful subjects to take pictures of, and by that I mean those sweet, sweet games.
Excellent. Yeah, yeah. Link up with the Instagram social media managers and all of that, and we'll expect to see some really cool stuff. Awesome. Bonsai, what have you been up to this week?
Hello, hello. Yes, I have been really enjoying Quest Calendar. Of course, if you guys don't know, it's a daily RPG, and I've been ripping through all the pages and really enjoying that and sharing my journey with the folks. And yeah, it's just been really cool doing all the stuff and also being an adult and cleaning my house.
Oh,
Yes,
the
it's
worst.
the worst, but honestly, it's better. Like I don't understand why I can clean perfectly fine in video games, but in real life, I'm like, I want to clean in real life as I play House Flipper.
Yeah. Or like Power Wash Simulator or something.
Power Wash
Yeah.
Simulator, exactly.
Well,
What about
awesome.
you?
Me personally, I've been very much enjoying my Christmas gift that a very good friend of mine got me. It's a bidet called Tushy. It took me very little time to set up. I thought it was going to be a lot. Uh, I set it all up and I didn't really get all that wet in the process, and it works great. I I never knew how many different components of a toilet there are. So using my power tools, I felt like an actual like handyman. I felt really living out the carpenter fantasy. So I've been really enjoying that. I suggest you all get a bidet. It's just cool. It's just cool to have one these days. You know, you want to be cool, you want to be hip, modern, get a bidet. So that's gonna do it for our check-in section. Let's pop into some headlines, folks. We got a lot of cool information, a lot of cool stuff going on. Let's start with some Gen Con news, shall we? Gen Con has announced that badge registration is starting very, very soon, in just a month, on February 11th at noon Eastern Time. So keep your eyes peeled for Gen Con Indy 2024. It's going to be a hoot. Also, the event organizer dashboard is open for early bird. So definitely check that out if you want to come to Gen Con and show something off or just, do a cool event. There's always room for more, right? Awesome. I can't wait for that. I'm super excited. Let's go into our next headline here. We have some. A prophecy has been fulfilled. Bonsai, tell us more.
Hey, I hope you guys enjoy talking about Disney because I'm all about Disney. In here, I guess I am part of the cult. Let me just admit that I like my Disney properties. The mouse has thoroughly seduced me. But
I'm so
Ravensburg,
surprised by this confession.
I know. So Ravensburg and Disney announced a Disney tabletop RPG. Thank you to Katie Francis from WDW News Today and Gavin Sheehan from Bleeding Cool News talking about this. So basically, like, we don't have that much information about it, but they announced that the game called Chronicles of Light. It's a box set that is intended to provide a story level entry, like light RPG that combines role playing, storytelling, cooperation, and approach, like basically making it more approachable for like the average person out there who is maybe not like known to playing video games, and maybe also for your young ones, the younglings, to get into it as well. Players will take the form of various different Disney princesses and Pixar characters. On the cover, it is stated that it's Moana, Violet from Incredibles. So Moana from, of course, Moana. Violet from The Incredibles, Maid Marian from Robin Hood, and Belle from Beauty and the Beast to team up and defeat famous Disney villains. So this game is ready for pre-order about $30 and will be available by July 7th. And this just leaves open, as you can see, Ravensburger is definitely making a good firm handshake with Disney. I have a theory, like it just makes, since they note this down as the Disney edition, that maybe in the future we'll see different Chronicle of Light games titled Marvel Edition and Star Wars Edition. That's what I think. I don't know if y'all are excited, but I feel like, yeah, Disney's definitely trying to make Disney Expo now a gaming expo from all the stuff that they're trying to get their little hands into.
Sounds like a lot of possibility. It sounds like there's a lot of potential here for a lot of different wacky stuff. I mean, Disney alone has so much to work with. And might I just say, I called it. Literally, I said that there's going to be a Disney RPG at some point, and now look at us. Look at where we are now. It was only a matter of time. All right, looks like we're gonna roll right into our next headline here. Looks like there's some buzz on the coast of Wizards, and we've got Anita to tell us all about it.
Hey, it's me. Your friendly neighborhood they wanting to tell you about AI. I'm here to kill your joy again about that. This one comes from our friends Jeffrey Jones Sanchez at ICV2 and Matthew Galt of Vice Media. On January 4th, Magic the Gathering Twitter account posted a promotional image for their upcoming Murders at Karlov Manor set. It had a steampunk theme, and though the art on the cards was made by human hands, the background was not. And when fans called Wizards of the Coast out, they initially pushed back, saying that they understand that the fans were confused, that the style was a little bit different from what they expected. In a deleted tweet, Wizards said that the art was created by humans and not AI, but the background for the image was in fact AI. And as a result, Wizards of the Coast has been quick to reaffirm that they do require creatives that contribute to Magic the Gathering to refrain from using AI generative tools in rendering final images. And now they're expanding that to people that are doing third-party media, third parties that are helping provide the media for promotional images as well. So they're, if anything, deepening and expanding their AI protections or protections to stop them from using AI generated assets. This comes from a week of different companies who have been called out for using AI generated tools. Wacom, notable graphics tablet software people, they got called out for using AI generated stuff in their promo images. There's a lot of people that are talking about how they need to be more careful using third-party programs or third-party assets, because it's creeping in everywhere. You can't get away from it.
No kidding. Yeah,
I mean,
we've
it's
talked about this briefly last week and the week before. We've just been, going on, and it just doesn't seem like something's going away.
I,
No,
I'm just gonna say that I think what's worse than using the AI is using the AI telling everybody, no, we didn't do that, only to get proven wrong. Because that either shows that you don't know what's going on at the company, which, I can imagine that being the case, having lost so many people so soon recently, or you're trying to pull one over on the consumer, which, so it's just not a good look either way.
Well,
I think, oh,
yeah,
sorry.
go ahead,
I think I
please.
agree. As long as people are upfront with what they're doing and what they're using, they don't falsely advertise like, "Hey, yeah, this was done by human hands. Oh, this was done by AI hands," or that. And also, I feel like the bigger note to note is please, like, also be cautious with some things. A lot of people, especially artists that I know, have been called out for using AI and then have to prove themselves that they're not using AI, and that's just how they draw. And so there's been a lot of witch hunts as well. So on that other side, and now people are like, okay, do I have to record myself drawing this to be like, hey, no, this is like the real stuff. Here's the layers and everything. So just be more aware, more mindful, and be upfront with things. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, thanks, Bonsai. I agree completely. Let's roll into our next headline here. It looks like there's going to be a radical new board game hitting the shelves soon. Noir, why don't you tell us all about it?
Hey, you chooms trying to get back into Night City? Delta. Let's get into it. We got a new board game. That's all slang from Cyberpunk, just in case anybody was worrying about what I was saying. Chew means friend, Delta means let's go. All right. So CMON will release Cyberpunk 2077, Gangs of Night City. It's releasing February 9th, 2024. This game was originally launched on Kickstarter in June 2022 and is headed to hobby shops via Asmodee. They're the puppet masters behind everything. The game features 4 gangs from the Cyberpunk 2077 world that players can choose to join. The Tiger Claws, if you like working for a Nepo baby billionaire. The Valentinos, rest in peace, Jackie, you were a real one. The Maelstrom, if you want to look like a microwave. Or the Voodoo Boys, let's go! It includes 4 replayable stories, each of which have changing effects, branching paths, and different endings. Like the video game, players can also specialize in solos or become netrunners and dominate the online world. And the game has multiple paths to victory. The game box comes with 46 figures, 12 color bases, a game board, a rule book, 4 game dashboards, 130 cards, 164 tokens, and 2 dice. A lot of stuff for you to lose over time. It's going to retail for $109.99. Listen, if you like Cyberpunk, this is an easy one. You already know the lore with the gangs. You know the lore of Night City. You already know what's in store. So get it. Sadly, there is no Johnny Silverhand from what I've seen on the box and of the art, so we don't get me smexy Keanu Reeves, but we got enough of that in the video game.
Well, regardless, I like the cover of the box. It's very eye-catching, the bright yellow against, the dim red background and all the
Oh
cyberpunk
yeah.
stuff. I like it a lot. All right. We're going to roll right into our next headline here. So, for all you Magic the Gathering fans, I'm sure you're very excited to hear what the release schedule is going to be for the rest of the year. So, we've brought that for you now. Let's take a look at this article from Jason Coles of Dicebreaker that lists everything and their release dates as far as we can tell. Coming up first, released just today, is Ravnica Remastered for all the folks who are excited about some classic, cards getting reprinted with some newer art. Definitely super fun to look for those. Coming up in just a month or so, on February 9th, we've got Murders at Karlov Manor, which is a murder mystery themed set that is going to have some meta social themes to the actions on the cards, which is super fun. And then a couple weeks after that, we have a tie-in called Ravnica Clue Edition, which is set to have a lot of Clue-inspired style, but it's also very Jumpstart inspired as well. As it turns out, you'll be able to grab 2 different booster packs and smash them together, just like in Jumpstart. I myself had a chance to play Jumpstart a lot more last year than in previous years. I learned a lot about it. I have a lot to say about it. Then Marcus, would you please grab my soapbox?
Oh my god, we get it. You think trains are cool. So overrated.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about Jumpstart. I thought many things about it when I was going into it. Oh, this is a thing for beginners. Oh, it's going to be super fun and interesting. It was all of those things, but there was so much more that I didn't realize. First of all, should I be sleeving my Jumpstart cards? Because if not, then how do I keep them protected? But if so, then how do I keep them from getting shuffled together with the wrong other sets of cards? If I want to mix and mash more, is it supposed to be permanent? Maybe that's the key. Maybe I'm supposed to be permanently putting 2 different booster packs of cards together and making a permanent deck forever. Maybe that's the intent, because that would make a lot more sense than trying to mix and mash a bunch of stuff and then figure it out from there. Also, I can't really like sell off specific cards of them without ruining the whole pack. I'm having a hard time. I guess I'm not the biggest Magic the Gathering expert in the field here, but I just feel like, you know, hopefully this set that's coming out, the Clue inspired set, will distract away from some of the challenges that I had, and there will be some better ways of connecting to gamers in their future sets. We'll have to see. Coming up next, in March 8th, we've got Universes Beyond Fallout Commander decks. There are several Commander decks based off of the video game series Fallout, with some like radiation themes, or somebody named Dogmeat. I haven't played the game, so I have no idea who that is, but I'm sure if you played Fallout, you know what I'm talking about. Next up, in Q2, we've got Outlaws of Thunder Junction, a Wild West themed set. Modern Horizons 3 comes out in Q2 as well. And we also have the Universes Beyond Assassin's Creed set, which takes place in our world, but also a few centuries back. And also, it's supposed to have a new type of booster that's supposed to tell you a story. Not really sure what that means. Maybe you open the booster and every card tells a story or something. Maybe there's a little pamphlet in the back of every booster. I guess we'll have to see. And then right after that, in Q3, we've got Bloomburrow, a set that's all about tiny little creatures, little anthropomorphic animals. That should be fun, right? Super cute. And then finally, in Q4, we've got Duskmourn, the House of Horror. It's supposed to take place in a new plane called Duskmourn, which is, get this, entirely indoors. How does that work? I have no idea. How do you have an entire plane of existence indoors? I guess we'll have to find out. It sounds super interesting. Any of these releases seem interesting to you guys?
I There's just a lot. There's a lot in the world now. it means that Leonardo da Vinci exists in the magic canon. It's weird, man.
It's weird. It's super weird. There's a huge difference in like tones from like set to set, from quarter to quarter.
I mean, because Assassin's Creed is all about like the different points in history. That means that while the Crusades were happening, Nicobolus was just out vibing somewhere. Funny to me. Okay,
That's super funny. I'm sure they have some sort of in-world explanation with like multiverse dimension shift things. I'm sure they've got something. But in any case, we're happy to see a bunch of crossovers, a bunch of fun sets for people who are looking for either standard or just something outside of it for a little bit of a different experience. We'll have to keep looking for what these sets have in store once the sneak previews come out. But speaking of sneak previews, looks like we're getting a return in Warhammer. Noir, why don't you tell us more?
all right, how's it going, folks? We going back to the old world. Uh, the old world in the fantasy sense of things. We're talking about Warhammer Fantasy, not 40K, which I love so very much. But if you've been playing Warhammer Fantasy in Age of Sigmar, uh the old world they're releasing it as a prequel to everything that happened before the game that you're playing, the Age of Sigmar. Um uh, and first and foremost, I want to give a quick shout out to Charlie Thiel over at Polygon for giving us the article on this. Now, uh, of course, we do have to note that the creator of the Old World passed recently, so this is a very exciting time to celebrate the work that he left behind. The best way to explain what's going on with the old world is the old world is a major historical point in the Warhammer fantasy that happens before everything that you've played. But now you get to go back and be involved in it. The way that the author described it in this is if you're playing Warhammer 40K, you know about the Horus Heresy. It's the big event that sparks a whole lot of the stuff that we're doing in 40K now. But if you want to play the Horus Heresy, then you would technically be playing Warhammer 30K. And in the very same sense, in this game, you would be playing the old world instead of Age of Sigmar because we're not in the Age of Sigmar yet. I'm very excited about it because it gives us a look at older factions that we don't get access to anymore. It gives us a chance to play in pinnacle points in the history of this world, and it gives us new models to play with. I'm super excited about that. So, there are tons of figures, just tons of them. Not too much in the way of terrain, but if you're already playing the Age of Sigmar, you can use those same terrain. The game is going to be broken down in larger phases, and it's a very deliberate exercise that's less dynamic but more strategic than the modern skirmish design that they're utilizing in Age of Sigmar. This is good. This is about big battles, big fights, big everything. Um, so yeah, that's our first look into the old world. I'm excited for it. There are some people that are a little less so, but ultimately, it all comes down to you, what you think, what you like, and how you play your war game. So give it a try. Let us know what you think. What do you all think of Warhammer? Be it Age of Sigmar, the old world, 40K or 30K.
Honestly, it would be really cool to see, like, you know how every popularity at some point something grabs a hold, like when Star Wars is a really big thing, and what is it called? And Game of Thrones. Now I want the Warhammer, all of the Warhammer merchandise going and just eating everything up. And then just like, can you imagine like if it becomes like a really big thing and the new like everyone gets to go back to their friendly local gaming stores and you get to see all these people battle with all the figurines and stuff. I feel like it'd be really cool. I also feel like in this day and age, I think people can really rent it, like especially for 40K, be like, yeah, I like the grim dark. The grim dark feels like reality.
I mean, when you mention that, it's kind of funny because a lot of the things that have made slipped its way into modern popular culture, blood for the blood god, skull for the skull thrones. Like people say that, but they don't understand that that is a Warhammer 40K thing. Shout out to Cord, you angry fighting people. So yeah, they've already got their foot like halfway through being part of the mainstream. I think with the TV shows and with more products like this, they're gonna make their way there. And Lord, the day Slanesh becomes popular is going to be a weird one indeed.
Well, speaking of big things, we're going to send it on over to Bonsai, who's going to tell us all about a big sale coming from Drive-Through RPG.
Yes. So, hey, if you are going ahead and waiting a very long time to go ahead and get all the various different role-playing games that you've been eyeing on, well, I got some surprise great news. Drive-Through RPG is having a huge sale right now. Not everything is on sale, but a good chunk of like some of the mainstream stuff is. You can get a lot of the major core rule books for 20 to 40% off. There are many great deals that are not even like, the like some of the games that really point out to me is like if you were looking to get into Cyberpunk Red, Vampire of the Masquerade, or any of the White Wolf games, Traveler, Kids on Bikes, age like 13th age. It's all there for you to grab. I highly recommend just to go ahead and look and see what you can grab, because I like getting things on discount, especially you're like, it's already been, the holiday season's over, but now you can save up. So the rest of your year is only going to go up from here. All the things.
Absolutely. New year, new game. Time for some change to form. Try out something new, like I see Tiny Dungeon on here. I see Dungeon Crawl Classics, a bunch of other games that we've played on this stream before. So if you liked any of those, now's a good chance to grab it for discount. It's awesome. All right, Anita, why don't we send it over to you for some somber news today?
Yes, Janelle Jacquet, who was a Dungeons and Dragons, a video game designer, and a trans rights advocate, has passed away. She's best known in the tabletop sphere as someone who created Dungeons and Dragons Adventures for TSR, and also was known for a lot of the developing and shaping developing the early shape for tabletop industry during the heyday of TSR and other publications. She wrote a few successful adventures, so Dark Tower, Caverns of Thracia. Both of them were published for Judges Guild, and they featured both her game design and her artwork. She's also known for a lot of the art that went into those games as well. Also, on that as well, she worked with on the video game side, she worked with id Software, whose best known works include Quake, working there as a level designer, and also working with Coleco, transferring arcade classics to the ColecoVision. She passed away at the age of 68. And we're here at TableTakes are sad for the loss. Someone that's contributed a lot to the tabletop sphere, especially a lot of that early stuff. She was a trailblazer.
It's really nice that there are so many great things that we can say about them. So many great ways to remember them. Thank you so much, Anita, for reporting on this so we can reflect a little bit. Yeah, it seems to have so much impact on the way we play D&D and other games today. So yeah, it's really sad to hear. Hopefully, the family has gotten to take some time and really reflect like we are on some of the great aspects that they had, or it's great impacts that they had on our community. Thank you so much. All right, Noir, why don't you finish off our headline section today with some news about a game that seems to be very particularly near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, I promise I'm gonna be completely normal about it too. Watch. Sorry, I just know that I'm lying. Mantic teams up with 343 Industries for a Halo miniatures game, heading straight to retail, no crowdfunding campaign. They've announced that they are going to bring their new Halo miniatures game to retail in September 2024. The brand new miniature game will feature team combat gameplay as well as detailed Spartan miniatures to delight fans of the video game. The game will not be crowdfunded, but instead will head straight into retail. Retailers can expect the first preview of the game come March 2024. Having a firefight play out on the table while moving Spartans in and out of cover connects players to the action in a new and special way, said Ronnie Ritten, CEO and founder of Mantic Games. We have a thrilling and competitive game from a passionate team of talented sculptors, artists, and designers who have been building an incredible Halo experience. This Halo miniature game is the latest attempt at a tabletop skirmish version of the popular video game. Previously, Spartan Games brought a Halo miniatures combat game to market in 2015. So, I'm stay in your lane, Master Chief. Stay in your. You are not an Astartes, all right? You are not a Space Marine. You are not a Grey Knight. You are not a Dark Angel. You're not a Blood Angel. You stay in your lane. It didn't work the first time because you are in the big dog's house, all right? This was the house Games Workshop built. What I mean to say by that is that maybe you just not built for this, all right? Maybe you should stay in video game land. Stay in video game like every time you stray, it doesn't go right. All right, look at the TV show. Just stay in your lane. Ugh. What
Thank
do you
you.
all think?
Thank you, Noir, for that very passionate article. We really appreciate you bringing it to us. Myself personally, I like Halo. I don't mind them making it a miniatures game, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
What happened to Master Chief if he went up against just any Astartes? You know what would happen to him if he tripped, fell, and landed in the 40K universe? Nothing good. Stay in your way.
Fair enough. All right. Well, thank you, Noir, once again. Thank you to all of you for these excellent headlines. But now it's time for us to all rise for Crowdfunder Court.
Welcome to Crowdfunder Court. Here come the judges. Prepare to be judged. All rise. Court is now in session.
You may be seated. Let us now go to Bonsai's Corner for her crowdfunder this week.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and bring you something that's just going to make your mind explode for time travel. It's Zoetrope. Zoetrope, Death Didn't Take. In this, like, quote unquote, in this time travel role playing game run on cards, you're you're basically rent-a-cops trying to time travel to fix time, screw it up. It's okay, it's fine, nothing happened. We can retcon it. It's the second edition of the Zoetrope RPG. Like the original, Zoetrope Death Didn't Take is a card-based RPG that's designed for quick, zero prep, 1 to 2 hour one-shots where the deck determines the course of play. This is a 1 or 2 to 7, like ideally 2 to 7 player game. The players take on the role of cut rate time agents, protecting or breaking the timeline with the help of the jury rigged equipment. Cards are played out of sequence of actual timeline, and periodically a new threat is introduced to mix things up. Players then can basically let them reoccur, rewind, fast forward, and then let them basically rewind the timeline so everything works out how they meant it to be. So it has 25 days left and ends Tuesday, February 6th. The card art is very 90s, I want to say, very 90s fun, punch your face with colors. And I like the idea that there's just who cares what happens and what we do wrong? We'll fix the timeline to make it so we did right.
Sustained. Thank you, Bonsai. Noir, you are now free to approach the bench.
All right, I'm gonna make this one sweet. It's quick. Today we're bringing in Hunted Kobayashi Tower. Now, if you're anything like me, you know what Kobayashi Tower is. In Hunted Kobayashi Tower, you'll have to work your way through a massive skyscraper to rescue your wife who's been taken by terrorists. Taking my hostages. Press your luck, roll dice, and manage your resources to overcome impossible odds as you try to get to the roof to take out the criminal mastermind Lars before time runs out. Do you have what it takes to save the day and make it out alive? Come to LA, have a good time, they say. It's just a single player card game. Only takes 30 minutes. Age is 13 and up. You see what I did there? Because when he's in the bed. Anyway, this is a fun single player game. It it allows you to deliver action movie clips while playing by yourself, so I'm sure that won't look strange. But it's a good time all the way around. Why am I even telling you anything more about it? It's $24. Get it now. Do it. It's Die Hard. Okay, it's Die Hard.
You had me at quoting Die Hard. Sustained. Absolutely. Anita, you are free to approach the bench.
Hi, everybody. So I don't know if you've heard this, but back on January 1st of this year, some very popular mice became public domain. The worlds of Steamboat Willie and Gallopin' Gaucho are now available for creative exploration. And as such, this crew, led by Mark Andrew Smith, who is a Eisner Award, Harvey Award, and Young Adult Library Association award-winning comic author, has created the Steamboat Arcana, which is a creative tribute to those animation pieces. There are two tarot decks, the Steamboat Arcana and the Gaucho's Arcana. Both 78 card decks are not just tarot cards, they are time capsules that encapsulate the pioneering spirit and whimsical charm of those 1928 classics. They are beautifully illustrated cards, and some of them, higher tiers, come in like nice metal tins. I definitely think you should check this one out. And who doesn't love a good public domain mouse? They've got 20 days left. They are fully funded, way past fully funded. Check it out.
Sustained, overruled, go to jail, 9 months probation. This whole court's out of order. Thank you, Anita. All right. Next up, we have a very, very special interview with none other than Sarah Table's own Sarah Moore. Stick around. Hi!
Hi. Hello.
Hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so
Thank you so
excited
much.
to have you back on TableTakes and to have a chance to interview you.
Oh,
How are you doing? How have you been for the
I
holiday
mean,
season?
pretty good. It was my birthday this week, so
Happy
Happy
birthday!
birthday!
thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Well, happy birthday. Hope you did something nice. And thank you for coming on for this interview. We have so many questions for you.
I can't wait to answer all of them. I'm ready.
Awesome. Well, first of all, for the probably like 1 or 2% of people watching who maybe don't know who you are, would you tell us what's Sarah's Table?
Oh, sure. My name is Sarah Moore. My pronouns are she, her, and I host Sarah's Table on Gen Con TV. It is an actual play show that spotlights small publisher and indie designed RPGs. It's pretty heavily bent toward queer storytelling because I myself am queer. And so everything is sort of focused through that. Plus, most of the time, it's pretty adorable and family friendly. That's what we go for.
We love that. Thank you. Awesome.
Thanks.
Well, can you also tell us, I know this is kind of like side thing, but do you always wear the elf ears or do you like take them off to go to sleep or
So these are my earbuds.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah,
This is a
yeah.
very
Well,
nice
so
decoration.
the story behind it is that I have very tiny little baby ears, and so I need something that will that will hook around the ear. Otherwise, it just pushes those earbuds right out. And so so I found these and I thought they were really cute. And so I
Well, they are very cute and
Oh,
they're very round,
thanks.
just like you. We have tons of questions for you, so I'll open it up for everybody else.
Okay.
All right. My questions is when you go ahead and go through what are like things that really stand out for the various different like indie games that you choose to role play, like, you know, choose to bring up, is there like certain criterias you really really like? Of course you mentioned queer, independent, but is there like some kind of game mechanics that you really enjoy or anything like that when you're choosing games?
Yeah, so I actually just did the numbers recently, and last year, in calendar year of 2023, I ran 35 different game systems on the show. And so one of the things that I look for because I run so many is like ease of access of like how well is this game explained? How quickly can I learn this game? Like what is the barrier to entry? You know, I and I know that there are more complex games out there and I would love to run them, but sometimes I'll pick up a game that looks amazing and you know the the like how to play section is 40 pages long and there's no like little cheat sheet area or anything, and unfortunately most of the time I just don't have the time to be able to like dive into something that is not presented in such a way that it is user friendly. I recently I ran you'll see it today, Brindlewood Bay. And when I was learning it and I was going through, it felt like a game that wanted me to play it because it was so clearly laid out in everything. So shout out to Jason Cordova for doing that. And then things were reiterated. So not only was there a very clear, like, this is how you do it, it's really easy, but then also in like the section in the back where I found the module, it was kind of also told again in the module so that like I didn't have to flip back and forth between it. And so not that I'm like I only want easy games, but like I want to be able to take a glance at this game and have all of the important stuff laid out for me, so that I'm not spending half of my session just like hopelessly stressed and flipping through a book. I do fall back on if I need a game in a pinch. I run a Grant Howitt one page because everything is on one page, and then I can just it's all there. And I think that when you run a lot of systems, you sort of get to a point where there's only so many options, right? For how mechanically a game is going to work. And so now there's been a lot of like, oh, this is like Thirsty Sword Lesbians. This is like Powered by the Apocalypse. This is like that. And so I've sort of been able to piece all those things together. But the more GM friendly that chapter is, the higher chance that I'm going to be able to run it on the show.
All right, does anybody else have a question? All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to know what do you look for in terms of guests to your show?
Honestly, I just really like people who have good energy. I want my show to feel safe and comfortable, not just for the people who are at the table, but also for the people who are watching. And so I have found that like what I'm looking for is somebody who is gonna come on and like have a good time and be a nice person. And I know that maybe sounds like kind of silly, but like I'm not looking for like, you know, the most high quality voice acting that I've ever heard. Like that's a great plus, but really I want people to know that if you don't put on an accent, that's okay. Like if you at your home table can't do an accent, it doesn't make you less of a role player. And so I want just people who have good energy and who like gel off of each other really well. I tend to ask people back. My goal is that you had such a good time that you want to come back. And so like that's what I'm looking for. You know, just like I want it to feel like you are watching a group of friends who actually like each other.
I think that shows. I think that's like really apparent every time I've been on it, every time I've seen it.
Yay. Yes, nailed it.
So, Not only are you someone that plays indie TTRPGs, you're also someone that helps design them as well through your work with formerly Feral Games. How is it to play something that you've worked on your own show?
A little weird. um in a really cool way. Like I really enjoy it, but it's also like often I am playing the role of like, hey, this is a brand new game, and you person who is here promoting it, who is the creator, like tell me about your favorite part of it, or like tell me something about it that you're really excited to share. And so when I had my business partner on with me and I was doing that, it was such a strange, like, I know his answers and I know what I would say. And like, how do I separate that out? I have to like kind of step back and remember that I'm, being more of like a host in that time. Um, but I do love playing the crowned on Sarah's table, and we are so close to having like a final proof of like the printed book. That as soon as we have it back and we're sending it out, I'm gonna do an arc, probably a 3 or 4 session arc, because I just like it. It's just a fun game.
Yeah, I'm
I
excited to
wanted
see
to
that.
ask you, having been on the show myself, I think almost all, if not everyone here, has also been on the show.
Yes.
I think we've all just had like different experiences getting DM'd by you, but you've been doing this for so long. Well, how
Yeah.
has your process like changed? How has it improved now?
I feel like I've really streamlined it. Um, and part of it, this is gonna sound terrible. Hi, everybody at home. Um, I've stopped telling people what we're playing. You don't get a choice anymore. I just say,
Oh,
"Are you available on this day?" Click this link, show up, and all you have to do is just like bring some dice and your sense of adventure, and then when you get there, I tell you what we're doing. Because almost every single thing that I choose is also something where we can do a character creation like in only a couple minutes on the stream. So obviously if it's a multi-arc, if we're doing like a 3 or 4 episode, I'm gonna see to make sure that people are in. But if it's just a one shot, I'm just like, hey, just click on this link and show up. And like I feel really grateful that people trust me enough to just do that. They're like, yeah, great, I'll show up and do it. I usually have fun on your show. Let's go. Um and truthfully, I think, and I mean, there are several people here who have been here. You let me know. I think just recently I did it both to Anita and Bonsai. But
Yeah, I actually asked. I was like, "Hey, what are we playing?" And you were like, "I'll figure that out."
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
And then I got the link. I was like, "Oh, Bindle it. Okay, we can go. Let's do this."
Yeah. But I think a part of it too, like as streamers and creators, it's kind of nice to just be like, I don't have to prep anything. Like I'll just be here. I just show up. I know that you are going to be fun at the table. And it kind of takes some pressure of all of that pre stuff off of you. Also, I feel like I try really hard to be aware of where people's lines are.
Mm.
Um, I I would never ask somebody to come on and do some kind of like really hardcore traumatizing horror or something without checking if that was okay with them. Um, a lot of times you're gonna come play like an adorable forest creature. So like you probably we're not gonna hit anything, but it's too bad at that point.
I think that's a testament to you, like being able to pick up a new game and then immediately teach people how to play and then immediately run through it on the like I don't even know. Is your show like an hour, 2 hours long?
Yeah, 2 hours. Yeah.
2 hours? Like that's not a lot of
No,
time for a
no.
whole RPG and you fit it all in.
Yeah, I feel like part of learning it for me is teaching it. I'm a very like verbal and tactile person, and so I end up with a lot of like printouts, and then as I'm talking through things, it's also reinforcing it for me. I do a lot of highlighting. I have like color coded highlights on my printouts and stuff, so I know what parts to do. Oh, that's another thing that I have figured out is that I have a template for like how my show goes, and I can fill it all in for each thing so that I know I'm not going to miss anything. So I tried like a couple of times to be like, I've done it enough. I probably don't need to write it out. Just always write it out, Sarah. It's fine. It's fine.
So your show and your brand is all about like really being sweet and wholesome. I have to ask, do you have any moment that comes to your mind the most when you think about wholesome moments in your show?
Wholesome moments. Oh my gosh. I feel like, yeah, okay. So there was a show that I did called Journey to the Whispering Tree. And it was one of the last episodes of not this past year, but the previous year. And I don't necessarily think wholesome is just happy. We had a really satisfying moment. It was That Great Gentleman and Megan Creamy Nasser. And in order for them to like fulfill the thing that needed to happen, one of them sacrificed themselves to like the forces of the forest. And it in order to save the other person, it meant that their memory even was erased because it dealt with the fae and all that. And like we just had this really lovely role play interaction, and like it was heartfelt, and it was like very sweet and poignant, and I feel like being able to tell stories that matter. And there was like no combat in that game at all. It was just about how you affect the world around you just by being you. I think that those are the kind of stories that are like really important to be able to bring to the forefront. I love a good hack and slash, but like sometimes it's great to tell a story that makes you cry, you know?
I agree. And I think a lot of people could learn a lot from watching your stream about like DMing tips and stuff like that. It actually
you.
makes me wonder, since you played so many different RPGs, do you have any like recommendations for folks who want to try something maybe simple and quick and new?
I am a huge advocate for Grant Howitt one page. It's everything that you need is on the page. Everything. And that is both for your players and for your DM. And it's all right there. And Grant even says on it, like, hey, if it doesn't work, like throw it out. Who cares? So like you can really go into it with this feeling of I cannot do this wrong, which I think is a big barrier to people when they start DMing is like, I'm going to mess it up and then everybody's going to be upset with me and it's too stressful. But like, just like get rid of a thing that doesn't work. That's okay. And so to be able to have that sort of permission from the creator, like, absolutely. I think it's it. Pick up one of those. One of the very first ones that I ever ran by him is called Sexy Battle Wizards. It's really streamlined. You have 3 stats, Sexy Battle and Wizard, and you do everything with it. And that's it. And there's tables for the DM to roll on as who's the bad guy, what did they do, where's it set, everything you could need.
Awesome.
I've been scarred by that game.
Well, oh, sorry, go ahead, Nia.
Oh, I was just going to say, do you have any moments for, or any sort of teaser that you can give us for tonight's episode of Sarah's Table that's coming up next?
It is a combination of several of my favorite things, which is Murder, She Wrote, The Great British Bake Off, and I mean mystery, but also maybe murder.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. Okay. Well, we know you're going to be at Gen Con, hopefully. Hopefully you
Yeah.
can make it to Gen Con.
I absolutely, you couldn't keep me away.
Awesome. Okay. Do you have any other stuff that we can look forward to from you this year?
Yeah, in March, I'm going to be at GaryCon, and I am going to be running an Actual event for Peter Adkison, as well as I'm going to be doing a Sarah's Table live there. And I'm hopefully, if we can make it all work, going to be doing a stream from the original House of D&D, the house that
Mm.
D&D built, with an all-female panel.
That sounds awesome. Okay, well, we will have to keep an eye out for all of those things. Thank you once again for coming on our show, Sarah. You've been so
Yay.
nice to have us on yours, so of course we have to have you on ours too. Please stick around as we do a quick sign off here. And folks out there who are watching, thank you so much for tuning in for this week's episode of TableTakes. But don't go too far because in just a couple hours, we have our very own Sarah Moore with Sarah's Table playing, you heard it right, Brindlewood Bay. Tune in for a delicious episode of the Great Brindlewood Bay Bake Off, where we are serving up a heaping helping of murder. It's Brindlewood Bay. Thank you to Marcus for writing that for me. uh, oh, Sarah. Well, my apologies. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah, for writing that for me. um, uh, on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific, we have An Indie by Night. And then on Wednesdays, we have Actoroki at 6 p.m. Pacific. Join Rem Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific on Roll with Rem Alternus. And then you can join us right back here on Fridays at 2 p.m. Pacific, where we do all the board game industry news and interviews. Thank you to the Gen Con TV crew, Marcus Mays, behind the scenes, our producer, Steve Connard, Sarah Moore, and Tanel Lovett. And thank you to all of our delightful co-hosts, me, Javion, we've got Bonsai Baby, the Noir Enigma, and thank you once again to the lovely Anita for joining us once again in Peter's stead.
May I make a suggestion about what we call Anita?
Oh, yeah.
Perhaps we call Anita part-time co-host, full-time awesome.
Part-time co-host, full-time awesome. I like the sound of that. Sold. Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you for being here as our guest, and thank you most of all to all of the folks here at home watching and hanging out with us in chat. Remember to follow us here on Gen Con TV for more of the best 4 days in gaming all year long, right here on twitch.tv/GenConTV. And by follow, I mean click that follow button. Thank you to all of our guests once again. Oh, and don't forget to tune in 24 hours later for the VOD if you missed half or part of the show, so you can never miss out. Thanks. I think that's it. Okay. Bye.